Good morning. It's approximately 11:08. The date is Friday, May the 16th, 2014. I'm Minnie Ann Lane, your Commission Chair. I'll now call to order the meeting of the Tennessee Private Investigation and Polygraph Commission. I'll request that our Executive Director, Cody Vest, introduce our new member, Dave Brown, from West Tennessee, and maybe you can share a little.
Okay, now that you've already mentioned here, Mr. Paul David Brown Jr., if you wouldn't mind telling us what you have your own investigation company and where you're from? Sure.
Well, I'm originally from Nashville, but I've been down in Memphis since 1970. Still trying to shake that one off. Semi-retired. I live in Counce, Tennessee, just south on the Pickwick Lake area, on a golf course. Been a legal investigator for almost 25 years. I was Johnny Cochran's lead investigator when he had his Memphis office. It was opened up. My background is more into the legal end of it, with attorneys. I didn't come out of law enforcement like a lot of the PIs do. Happy to be here. I do have 9 grandchildren. Got to mention that.
You're blessed.
Yes,
okay.
I think. I don't know.
Would you please do a roll call and verify a quorum for me, please?
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. David Brown.
Here.
Larry Flair.
Here.
David Horton.
Here.
Rick Jones.
Here.
Minnie Lane.
Here.
Jerry Richards.
Here.
Dr. Rich. Alan Russo. Walt Valentine.
Here.
Let the record show that Alan Russo and Dr. Rich are not present, but you do have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. If each commission member has received and reviewed a copy of the agenda, could I have a motion to adopt this agenda?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Who seconded that? Commissioner Brown. Okay, we have a motion to accept the agenda as presented by Commissioner Valentine, second by Commissioner Brown. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. If each of the commission members has reviewed the minutes of the February 14th Private Investigation Polygraph Commission, I'll ask if there's a motion to approve these minutes.
I make that motion, Madam Chairman.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Commissioner Horton, did you second that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, I believe on our agenda we have the legal report. I'll turn to our Assistant General Counsel, Josh Kilgore. Would you handle that for me, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Only one case on our legal report today, case number 2014-006561 and two respondents in this matter. Complaint was established when it was discovered that respondent failed to notify of her arrest on 1/20/2013 for possession of drug paraphernalia and possession of a Schedule 6 narcotic within the 30-day period allowed by law. Respondent notified us of her arrest on her renewal received on 3/28/14. Respondent states that she thought she was doing the right thing and waiting until the court's final determination of the matter prior to notifying the commission, despite the law requiring notice of arrest within the 30-day period. Complaint was also established against respondent's company, as they too are required to provide notice of arrest within 30 days of their investigators as well. Respondent states that she had been advised by her doctor to travel out of state to obtain marijuana to ease what she states were vomiting symptoms that resulted from her fibromyalgia. Respondent had obtained the marijuana from Colorado. Respondent was pulled over for speeding in Tennessee when the marijuana and paraphernalia were discovered. It appears that the possession charges were later retired and are eligible for expungement in June of 2014. However, respondent pled guilty to the speeding charge. My recommendation is authorize formal and send a consent order with a civil penalty in the amount of $125 to each respondent in this matter for failing to timely notify of an arrest within the 30-day time period per TCA 6226-213 subsection 3. And this is in line with prior discipline that we have done for the same offense, the 125 civil penalty.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept your recommendations.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, Madam Chairman.
Second by Commissioner Flair. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries.
That concludes my legal report for today, Madam Chair.
Next, we have the administrative matters. And I'll ask our Executive Director, Cody Best, if she'd please handle that for the board.
Thank you. Before I do that, I would like to go on the record to tell you, you do have a new employee by the name of Tony Kerr, which I have already introduced earlier. She's a new administrative assistant, and she would be working, once she helps train the new employee for the alarm board, she will be working solely for the Private Investigation and Polygraph Commission.
Oh, well.
So you'll be seeing her for a while, or be talking to her probably.
Good.
All right, we'll just go right on to the, this is going to be rather quick. We'll go right on to the disciplinary report. Or, isn't that what I have next?
Exhibit B.
B. Looks like in, of course, like always, this is all the programs that we regulate. We don't just pull out the PI. But in February of 2014, there was no fees collected. In March of 2014, there was $500, and you can see who this is. And in April, we didn't have any collected. What we have for that one. We'll move on, and please stop me if you do have any questions, because this goes rather quickly here. All right, we're going to do the open complaint report. We have a total of 5 complaints.
I gotta rotate it somehow.
One was heard this morning. It was for the former hearing, so now you have 4. And then we,
There's 2 respondents.
oh, 2 is,
So I think, does it
that's
count
not. And then the one you just heard today said, I think that only makes you have 3 complaints left. We do it just a little bit different. When it comes into our office, it is a complaint. It doesn't make any difference if there's 6 people, or a company, or a PI. It's a complaint. But when it gets over to legal side, they have, I believe, cases. It may be respondent 1, respondent 2, respondent 3, respondent 4, so it changes the numbers. But what we give you is just actually the complaints that come into the office. So we're looking very well there. We certainly appreciate all the hard work that our council's doing with this as well. We can go right now to Exhibit D, which is your monthly reports. If I'm not mistaken, Bess already sends this out to you every month because this is a little hard to go over at one time, but we'll take a look at this for March. Over to private investigation, said there is 1 current commission member. Audrey Moore has expired from West Tennessee, but Mr. Brown, I believe, has taken Ms. Moore's place on that. Or fully, let me rephrase that. The commission is complete with 9 members now. These are just the totals for complaints, totals for the applications we get in, the ones that are denied, the ones that are approved. So we just won't get into all that. This does have your PIs in Polly. If the new board members would like, commission members, excuse me, like to take that home, look it over, have any questions, we'll be glad to help you with any of that. It just shows you the activity that happens in the commission, in the board office. All
I'd like
right.
to say we're appreciative of Beth sending those out to us each month.
That takes a lot of time.
I'm sure it does.
Because our figures come different, then she has to redo them. Okay, we're going to go over something we're going to call the budget review. In my evaluation as a executive director, I am supposed to keep you abreast of your budget. But I can only tell you the figures that I have. So we'll take a look at that, and I'll go over it, especially since we have new board members, and we have a few minutes here. It's the whole plan. If you'll see to the left, it says 33510140001, and it's private investigators, and it says work plan. I have to sit down and do an actual budget for your commission, and this is what we have determined it would, with other help from other people, of what it would be. So if you look at the top row up there, it says payroll expenditures. There's absolutely nothing that I can do with that. That is not touched by our department. Already preset, so there will be no changes. Basically, the only thing I can do in my office is move supplies around or paper, something of that nature. But I wanted to bring it to your attention. If you would go down to, or move over to September there, you will see $10,107. That is a large charge there, but that is for the exams. That's at one time. Per exam for the rights. All right. And it is, the exam is in place. And I will tell you, you do have some correspondence with someone who is complaining, and we'll read that to you later. And then actually what it state down at the bottom is state professional services. You get down into that. That's the fingerprints being sent off to the TBI. That's the what they call the lock box, which is your renewals and stuff, and different fees. So now what you have there is expenditures for $104,298.41. Well, if you turn over to the next page, you will see your revenue. These were your expenditures. This is your revenue over here. The year-to-date revenue for your program is $152,655.76. What you will not see, and that looks real good, but what you will not see is the cost backs. A cost back, for instance, for our new board members is the meeting we just had this morning. You have to pay for that hearing. That's why we try to recoup the monies in the hearing. We pay for the law judge. We pay for the court reporter. Out of that is going to come our attorney fees, paralegal fees. And we are, and I've already told you this several occasions, we are in the process, Beth and I have been going for days at a time to train on the new computer system that all programs will have to pay for. I don't know what that's going to be. Cost backs are given to me at the end of, well, the year ends in June, and I usually get them in October. But I'll try to bring you an update every month that I can, every time that we meet. But that's what they give me. They give me the expenditures. Here is your revenue. The next page, it tells you about civil penalties that we had received. And you don't have any questions about that, we'll move on. Oh, there was a change there I wanted to tell you too. We had to, every time we get a new board member, we have to put them on Edison, and that's what your March under travel is, why it's there's a little bit of a fluctuation there. It usually runs in the 1,000, 1,400. We had to back up and took we will see Mr. Brown also. We'll probably move over to the next 2 months before we finally get him onto the system and it on your report here. And I believe, Beth, we talked briefly with Mr. Brown this morning when we did the orientation about you signing into Edison. Have you talked to them about that yet?
No.
Okay. To sign it over your proxy. Edison is not exactly real friendly that I've learned to use it too much. You got theirs?
I already have, yeah.
Okay, so we're all right there. We're going to help you get past that so you make sure you get your payments. That's basically what that means. All right, if you don't have any questions with that, we'll just move right on to a legislative update. Really don't have any legislative update in a sense. Exhibit F is Senate Bill 2144, House Bill 2200. The governor has not gone to him yet for signature.
I went on, he just hadn't
He hasn't signed it yet. But this is concerning voice stress analysis. It's information we feel that you may need to know. It's not affected, it's not legislation for private investigation and polygraph commission. It is something that you do need to know about when you're a professional. You can read that where means the use of a device that has ability to electronic analyze the responses of an individual to a specific set of questions and record the analysis both digitally and on the ground. Voice stress analysis and testimony regarding voice stress analysis shall not be admissible as evidence in any criminal proceedings. I don't know how that would affect.
I think it affects all our polygraph examiners. They are all interested in this simply because they've been opposed to the voice stress analysis.
All right, we'll go to, you have no questions on that, we'll go to Exhibit G, exam stats. I'm going to bring this to you because you know you do have the exams now in place for the private investigator and for a private investigation company. Let's take a look at this. The Tennessee polygraph examiner candidates, we had 2 and both of them passed. Catch up here. Private investigation company, we had 9, but 6 of those individuals failed. We bring this information to you because this is the stats for the first exam, and we use these to determine, is the exam a right exam? Is it too hard? Is it too easy? Is it something that we need to look at again? So these are the stats. Remember, we had that whole, what, a year or longer of not having the exam, so this is the stats for the people who did catch up. First time failed 6, they repeated it, 4 of them passed and 2 of them failed. There was a total of 21 who took the company. Private investigator candidates first time passed, 29. First time failed, 23. 14 had to repeat it, and then 3 still failed. You had a total of 69 people take this exam. All of them added together, I'm sorry. That's all of them added together, 221. I don't have a total. Look to the back of this, and this is what I told you. We have correspondence. I like to bring, we get this kind of correspondence, and I like to bring it to the board for your review. It's not anything to be voted on, anything of that nature, but I do want to read this. This is from Donna Beeler, who took the exam. Miss Bell, I just returned from taking the state exam here in Knoxville, and I'm lodging an outcry of discrimination by the commission. That state exam and the error of standard knowledge is a culprit of discrimination against all new licensed applicants. Only seasoned PIs with years of experience or someone with a photographic memory of the Idiot's Guide to Private Investigation could pass that section. The question chosen by the to go on this new state exam is obviously targeting the reduction of license issues each year, which means less investigators. Examples: minimum film speed for best photos at dusk. What power of binoculars is most like the human eye? Cell phone forensics. Amount of RAM or hard drive to spend the most money on when purchasing a computer. One eye viewfinder versus a small viewfinder. Which databases Turcant Social Security numbers? Merlin, Locate Plus, Informula. Aspects of video recording in HD, copied with or without cords, and is admissible in court. Which reporting agency gives both Social Security numbers and addresses? What identifies cell phones? GPS, EPN, or ESN, IP, SRL. Who cares? Grand juries issue warrant and judgments, true bills, or convictions. Which state listed below is not an all-party state? What features are needed in video cassetting recording? Jog, shuttle, time, date, or send. These are just a few I can remember off the top of my head, and I know I got wrong on the test because I had not a clue. The folks who picked and chose questions for the exam should have been more diligent in the areas of need to know rather than FYI. We can learn the FYIs when we start working and go by our cameras, video recorders, binoculars, computers with RAM, Wi-Fi, or not. We don't even have a field of specialty in investigating yet to be required to know about cyber investigating, terrorists, black ops, electronic surveillance, adoptions, estates, interrogations, and such. So many more areas that make my head swim. So why do we get in the exam we're required to remember a comment in any of these areas? Are you kidding me? Do commissioners really think this is important for potential private investigators to know out of a 360-page book? The author even has basic and advanced information which a novice studying the material hasn't a clue of what it means. The author even says over and over that seasoned investigators need to know this, blah, 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 which tells me this book was written for men and women already in the field but need resources to make their jobs easier and more cost-effective, not for us who are wanting to get our license equipped with legalities, state laws and regulations, definitions, glossary, and the line of work. The section of the state exam on Tennessee laws, regulations, and rules is great. I aced that section. Everyone should be an expert in these areas to practice in Tennessee. Your state exam should be more concerned with ethics, governing laws versus man laws versus conscience laws. It wasn't. I would like to know by year's end how many licensees are issued to first-time private investigators with no experience. Excuse me. Oh, there will be many issued to first times in Tennessee but moved here from another state where they held a license and they had the knowledge and riffraff questions in the standard knowledge section of your state exam. Maybe the commissioners who are private investigators should take the state exam and report their score. Thank you, Donna Beeler.
Sounds like she's attacking the book. And if you're going to take a test, if you know that book is your reference, I'm shocked.
Wanted to bring that to you and let you know there's, I think she's I don't know if that's a formal complaint or not, but we will keep that information, and of course we will get back with her and let her know, answer her question for the exam. These exams just went into place. Beth, how long do we have to wait before we can check them again?
Even when we first went into this, the PSI, we wanted to get the exam up and off the ground, and then they had always intended that we have an exam review after we got some statistics in. We will look at especially the practical knowledge questions, and make sure that the people with PSI that developed this test didn't just pick out stuff that looked specific. I do think maybe some of the test questions are kind of off or too of the practical knowledge portion of surveillance or things they may need to know, but you guys will have an opportunity. It will have to either be done at a public meeting, or we're going to have to once again ask the chairman of the various associations to participate with one commission member and review these test questions again. We had a problem last time. Nobody was available to do that. So I believe probably in the next 2 or 3 months, we will get PSI to start working on just an item review. So we can add some items, take some off that really are erroneous. But it'll probably be a couple more months. But I do think, and that was always the intent.
Right.
So.
We were just in a position where we had to get this. I believe Commissioner Flair needs to leave.
I do apologize,
that'd
Ms.
be
Cody,
fine.
and rest of
Thank
the
you,
board.
sir.
I've got court and I have to leave. Thank you.
You know, we were really pressed to get this exam into place, and we did the best that we could at the time, and we will still be looking at those. That's why one of the individuals is that that's the only correspondence we've received that I'm aware of about the exam.
We got one other email from a company owner that had an intern. Didn't look at the exam brochure, apparently didn't look at the old exam brochure either, because he went to take the test and had no idea that any of it was based on a reference book.
That's what I'm,
And then his complaint was, once he realized that it was the Idiot's Guide to Private Investigating, he decided he didn't want to become a PI anymore. So,
got somebody back here that wants to add something, I believe, if that's all right.
Yes, ma'am. I just received my license last week. My name's Robert Corcoran. There are some questions on there that are not as pertinent to the
Well, everything on the test, I was the one that was on there with the company. Everything on that test, we referenced out of a reference book.
Sure. And the Complete Idiot's Guide, I can see the 40.
Thank you for your comment. We appreciate it.
Someone who's recently taken the test, I thought you might want to see from some other side.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Moving right along here. Let's have a few more items here. We'll go to Exhibit H. It's an applicant here that has a criminal record, and we want to, it was a little odd. Gentleman had charges in Zimbabwe. Well, this is a Tennessee license, and it's a U.S. license, so I don't know how we were supposed to look at a criminal record from another country. It's all attached here. He does give you an explanation of his Zimbabwe arrest, and he didn't intentionally do that, he said. It just never crossed his mind when he filled out a U.S. application here to be a private investigator, he should put that down there. But then he turned around and did have a record coming out of Holly Springs, Mississippi. I checked with the San Francisco, California Records Department also about a charge, and that was 10 years old. You do have a written explanation of his charge along with the Holly Springs Department record check. And he did, if you look at this page, can you get there, Beth? Oh, okay. He did disclose he had 1998 San Francisco DUI with vandalism, Holly Springs, Mississippi aggravated assault with vehicle and disorderly conduct, dismissed. He did fail to disclose the Interpol with the Zimbabwe. That was possession of 6, what is that? 6 cobs.
6 cobs. I
of
couldn't find out
cannabis.
what a cob was.
He was in possession of 6 cobs of cannabis Indian hemp in Zimbabwe. He was charged,
They fined him what?
they fined him 200 Zim dollars. 1 Zim dollar equals .00276 in U.S. dollars. I mean, you see, I just didn't know what to do.
Had fun with that one.
So, little different. But what really in the United States, if you look over at the record check at the Holly Springs, the disorderly conduct was dismissed and that the aggravated assault had been dismissed.
Question on the application is, have you ever been arrested in Tennessee or any other state?
Do we need to change that?
This is so rare.
First time I've heard of it.
Right, I mean, it's just very rare that we have someone from another country, but.
Have a motion?
Make a motion, we accept it.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Horton. I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's
I
it.
can't.
We need to turn them name tags around.
Yeah, is there any, we've had some changes here. Is there any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, but we had some people who I think were still studying and didn't vote.
Roll call.
What is the motion?
Motions to
To do what?
approve his license.
That would be approving his explanation of the charges that he
Correct.
omitted and those that he did admit.
As an explanation of why he did not put it down there.
Yeah. Well, the Zimbabwe was not required by our application, correct?
Other discussion?
Well, we've got a guy here that apparently has an anger problem. They arrested him. He kicked the door of a police vehicle. Aggravated assault. I guess marijuana situation in Zimbabwe. I guess that's what Indian hemp is.
I withdraw. Oh,
Well,
excuse me.
the,
Oh, okay.
We're just in discussion.
I would just note that the charges were dismissed, so I don't know if we can hold those against him, as he wasn't found guilty of, it looks like he was arrested for the aggravated assault and disorderly conduct, but as both charges were dismissed, I don't think that we can hold that against the gentleman.
About the charge in San Francisco? Okay.
DUI from 1988.
Okay. Is a DUI a misdemeanor?
Generally.
Is it?
I think under your rules, the only deniable offense on here that you could deny him for would be the material misstatement on his application for the Zimbabwe charge. I don't believe that any of the other offenses listed, especially considering that two of them were dismissed, are deniable offenses under our laws and rules.
Other discussion? Motion on the floor, and it was second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I believe it was everyone. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I brought it because it was so unusual. Well, we knew, Okay, let's move down here to Exhibit I. This is going to be Mr. Sasser here to reinstate his Alabama reciprocity. Beth, you want to take over this part?
I will. Mr. Sasser had a previous, we have an Alabama agreement with the Alabama Polygraph Board, a reciprocal agreement. And we don't have the authority in-house to approve these applications, so it's here in front of you. I have a recent letter from the Alabama Board from Joan Beck indicating he's licensed in good standing. He's applied to reinstate, and what I did put at the back of your packets under Exhibit I is a copy of the actual agreement. I think I got it in there. It's not? That on Trenton? Well, I messed up, didn't I? I don't think I copied it, no.
Okay.
Anyway, we have an agreement with Alabama. He meets all the requirements, but we don't have the authority in-house to approve a polygraph applicant
So you,
like we do with the PI applicants.
I noticed he's been a licensed polygraph examiner in Alabama since '82.
He had a license here up until about 2004, and he had had it since the 80s. He has just applied to be reinstated.
Motion to be approved.
Second.
Who made that motion? Thank you.
Motion's been made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
the next one that you have is going to be J, and it is an initial intern application. And what Beth did do, if you look, because some of you are not that averse with polygraph, the last item on there is what the qualifications for a license to be in order to get
I believe he meets all the requirements, but I'm not really sure he's got the 2 years of college credits. I don't really know enough about college credits to know. He exceeds the investigative experience that's required. Have everything we need to issue his intern permit. He's with the Blount County Sheriff's Department.
Offer a name of the institution where he got his credits, college credits?
What's on here? I've got a transcript in here.
Ultra State.
I thought you said you couldn't, I thought you said
But
you
he's
I
only
just
got-
don't know how many hours 2 years is. I don't know if they're
Oh.
quarterly, semesters.
Oh, I see.
I think he meets the requirements, but again, we don't have the permission to in-house approve these.
For us anyway.
Well, I know this person, and does that keep me from saying anything about it? Well, these schools, and he went to an approved school, they make sure before they allow these students to enroll that they have the qualifications. So I move that he be accepted.
We have a second.
I'll second that.
We have a second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I believe that completes all my section, Madam Chair.
I'll call on our Administrative Assistant, Beth Smith-Bell, if you'll handle the education report.
All right, during the Education Committee, and let me see if I can get this exhibit to come up. Audience can actually look at what we're talking about most of the time. The first item on there was Gregory Caldwell. That's the item that I sent out like early this week or late, really late. He went to the IntelNet seminars. We have accepted those in the past. I didn't see anything wrong with it. It just needs approval because they're not on our list of approved organizations. Do we want to go through all these and just make one motion?
I believe so.
Okay. International, Sean Patrick Dees attended the International Counterfeiting Coalition. He went to several other conferences. He also went to the Indiana State Excise Police for in-service training and North American Brand Protection for Nike and Hurley counterfeit training. They all look good to me. I couldn't identify that they were limited law enforcement anyway. They look pretty good. Stephanie Johnson has submitted a 1-hour presentation that she gave to the Smoky Mountain Paralegal Association. She's asking for credit as an instructor for developing that course, and she's asking for that to meet her 12-hour requirement. She sent a copy of her entire PowerPoint and the research she had done. I sent all that out for you guys. But she's asking for her making that 1-hour presentation to meet her 12 hours of continuing education. There is a provision in your rules for service as an instructor and for developing a curriculum. I didn't know if that would meet all 12 hours. So, Terry Thomas went to an Institute for Internal Auditors. It was a 5-hour course, RX for Fraud, Part 2. Mike David Whaley attended several seminars. He went to Technical Surveillance Sciences Regional Counter-Drug Training Academy, took a course on covert vehicle installations. He also went to the Southeast Arson Task Force Seminar. It was like 4 days. It was 34 hours. Regional Counter-Drug Training Academy, Backcountry Tactics and Training, 40 hours, and the Southeast Arson Task Force. I think most of these are for law enforcement, but he far exceeds the 12 hours, and he wants this to count as his continuing education. Rebecca Warwick attended a Knox County Public Defender's Office, Attorney Investigator Criminal Defense Investigation Training. It was Criminal Defense 101. It was 12 hours. Walt Ballantyne went to REI Training, Countermeasures Core Concepts. It was a 5-day course, March the 3rd through the 7th. And we also have the request from the Tennessee Association of Licensed Professional Investigators to approve their 1-hour seminars for their lunch meetings. The biggest problem here is that their speakers keep changing when we don't have the resumes. So that is the entire report. We did have one speaker who is Robert Duhame that they have added. He gave their presentation on March the 12th. I did have a resume on him, and you still have that. So that's the only real issue is how to address that.
We needed to go on the record that Commissioner Walt Valentine will not be voting on this.
Right.
Now, have a motion?
I'll second.
We don't have one yet, David.
I thought you said you had, I thought he
She's
had.
calling
Do
you
we?
to make
Oh, I
one.
thought he, okay.
Anybody else here that's on the education committee that can make a motion, Minnie, except for David?
So move, I'll make that motion.
How are we going to address? Or the 1 hour, I'm trying to say.
I believe we've already addressed that, didn't you approve it, well, based on the fact of us getting
It needs to be in the
information?
motion.
Yeah.
So what the recommendation was to approve all these seminars and approve Talpi and tell them that they have to have their speaker resumes in the commission
Yes.
office 15 days prior to the speaker presenting or within 15 days of this meeting.
Be prior. We need these things ahead of time.
But y'all are not gonna get to review it. So as long as we have a resume in our office for their speakers prior to them speaking,
That would work. We needed a motion on that, correct? That's the reason I brought that out.
I was trying to include it in his motion, so.
Okay. Is there a second?
Let's include it.
Okay.
Have a second.
You don't have to second.
Okay.
Prior to.
Second that then. All
You
in
don't have to be
favor?
on the committee to vote. Y'all can also,
No.
except for Walt.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Good.
Well, Madam Chair, I believe that concludes our, wait a minute, unfinished business or any new
What about any new business? Did anybody sign up for the Continuing Education Participation Forum? Okay. To speak.
We have a form back there if you have a question about anything that was discussed at the meeting.
Forum.
You can ask a question regarding this.
Okay. There being no further business, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn this commission meeting.
So move.
Motion
Second.
made by Commissioner Valentine. Who's second that? Second by Commissioner Brown. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned.